Hello, true duelists. YGO Strats here, coming at you with some friendly duels I've had with my friends. These are from last format. Both of these decks are banned beyond repair after the October ban list, but I have the footage of these duels and I felt like editing them down and sharing them. If nothing else, it's a showcasing of what replays on this channel could look like going forward once we start playing in the current format. Regardless, I think they're pretty fun, pretty entertaining. So without any further ado, we're just going to get right into them. It's Lightsworn Chaos versus Paleo Frog. Lightsworn did win the die roll because they are the more skilled duelist, of course, and they elect to simply pass, which is the best possible news in the world for me as a Paleo player. Taking full advantage of an open board state and the potential to OTK, I set 5 cards and pass turn. The Paleo special. So now I've effectively gone first, but he's gonna get to go off to his heart's content, so he's gonna go off with Chaos Space, discarding a wolf to grab himself the Illusion Magician ritual monster. I can't remember the exact name of this card, but it gets him Magician Souls, and that's really what's important. And it even puts itself back in the deck to make that Magician Souls a free summon, which you'll love to see when he's playing it, and as his opponent, I kinda hate it. He follows that up with an emergency teleport. He's going to bring out Recover just as its little tuner, and this is the cleanest Hulk play I've seen in a minute. So he's got both of them on board, links them off, goes into the young Halqifibrax, which I am going to do everything in my power to negate. And of course, by everything in my power, I do mean infinite impermanence, which is just that easy. Stopping Hulk is a pretty safe thing to do, to the point that Konami saw fit to do that by banning the damn card, which was smart, but it doesn't stop me. He is going to follow it up by banishing 3 darks, or pardon me, 2 darks and a light to summon the Levianeer, and pop 2 of my back row, which is pretty brutal. Kinda wishing I had the imperm for this. He targets the middle 2, so I'm going to chain Dimensional Barrier, and I think on it before chaining the Compulse on the Levianeer, and I think that was the wrong thing to do. I do not think that that was the right play in any capacity, but I figure, let's see what happens, and I assure you as this duel goes on, you are going to see exactly what it is that happens. So he's going to swing at me for 1500 with that Halqifibrax, and then ultimately, I don't believe he's got much else to do in his main phase 2. So in his end phase, I actually activate Trap Trick, and I set myself a Canadia. And that's the end turn, so I draw, and I've got not a whole lot. So my turn is going to be to set the trap I just drew. You can see I've got Change of Heart in the main, because it came to 1 and I felt like playing it. I shouldn't be. It's the 41st card in the deck. Should not be there. I'm just having fun here. So he summons the Jet Synchron. I'm going to hit it with a Canadia. I don't want tuner access shenanigans. Hulk may already be on board, but that's going to become a problem. So he pokes for 15, passes turn, and I draw my turn again. I'm not seeing a single frog, which is the sign of a great duel, I can assure you, being a Paleo player. And I'm just going to go for a pass turn. He's going to use Halqifibrax's effect, tag into the Wonder Magician, and pop my last trap from the first set, which is a Dinomischus. So I'm going to pitch Olenoids, get rid of that. It's got the bigger attack stat, and Dinomischus can't hit face downs, so I try to get the Canadia off the trap, but he's got the DD Crow, because main and hate's the way to go, and he's ultimately going to get another Magician Souls, which is Tanfastic. That was after using Chaos Space to put the banished ritual back into the deck. So he's going to debilitate. He's got the Destrudo, so things are getting out of hand rapidly. He's going to sync off into Shooting Riser Dragon, which currently is the most pointless limit at the time we're filming this. Now thankfully back at 3. He sends the snow, and at this point the writing's pretty well on the wall. He brings out the Levianeer again. He gets all darks this time round, which means he's going to shuffle away the only card in my hand, which is the Change of Heart. And so from there, he's going to link those 2 off into a Dagda in main 2 after bringing me down to 1400. And my turn, and I've got a Fiend Comedian, and that is the grand total of everything I have. So I pointlessly do my coin flip, and it lands on heads, so I get to banish his entire graveyard, and he gets to chain Dagda to get himself a spicy morale tech. His entire graveyard gets banished, and I concede because I've clearly lost this duel. So we side up, we go into game 2. This time I'm going to get to go first, even though I kind of did last time as well, but this time we'll go first and win instead. And the easiest way to do that is with a 3-set and 1 monster. Beauty of the frogs is they got big booties, so I'm feeling alright with this setup. You don't want to go too heavy on it, because if they happen to open that Feather Duster and you set 4 or 5, ow. His opening play is, of course, to immediately cross out Imperm. Maybe should have waited, but it's funny that he did it this way. He's going to follow that up with the normal summon Trick Clown and then special summon of Magician Souls. So he's got free link material here. He goes into the Dagda, he activates the effect of the Trick Clown in the graveyard to bring itself back out, and he's ultimately going to pass. Doesn't really have anything to go into that's worth going into for himself, I suppose. I top tech that to Dyers, and I throw it down. I believe my exact quote is, "Ash me, I dare you." And he is going to activate the Dagda in response. So I banish my 10, and he's going to set the Morale Tech. If you're wondering why Morale Tech and not Scythe, it's because he doesn't feel like being a dick. Good guy, my opponent is. So Morale Tech's just more of a spice tech, and it's casual fun duel, so that's all there is to say to it. I activate the Dinomischus, pitching an Olenoids to banish the Trick Clown. I just don't want that free link climbing and abuse that it can provide him over the course of the duel. And I'm going to then, in a new chain, activate Trap Trick, and I chain my Dinomischus. Now, I say it out loud, but you don't see me do it. That's kind of bad etiquette. For what it's worth, I did say activate Trap Trick, I'll chain the Olenoids and summon it. I just wanted to get the banished Imperm out of the deck and all that jazz, but I'll admit I should have done it the other way. Now, I actually go into the battle phase and crash my dupe to search a swap, because I am a big-brained player, and I'm going to use my normal summon to normal summon said swap and then send Ronin just to try and get my engine going. He is going to respond with a DD Crow immediately, not even letting me try to use it, which sucks, but at the very least I've still got 2 4s on board, so I can go into my Toad. Because I don't need to think, you just need to summon Toad. I detach the Paleo just to make sure I can get my traps the most value possible, and then summon swap sending another Ronin. And I'm going to follow that up by using Lancia, because the goal of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is to not let the opponent play Yu-Gi-Oh! He'll summon the Seifert, he'll run into my swap with his Hulk in the battle phase, his Dagda, and then that's about all he's got to do, because I've got a negate on board and I've shut him down. So he passes turn. In my standby, I'm going to activate my Toad again, summon a swap, pitch a dupe. I've got the Ronin going, so I've got at least 2 monsters, Xyz or Lynx, whatever I choose on board. I'm going to Imperm the Seifert, purely to get the Dinomischus on my field. Just as material, I'm going to then overlay the swap and the Miscus into Olenoids, pitch the swap so that, you can use Olenoids, grab another Dinomischus, and from here, I believe I'm going to start getting some Ronin shenanigans. Just kind of going over my hand, what I've got, all my plays, all my choices I want to make. So I banish a swap to summon a Ronin. Thankfully, no DD Crows, praise the Lord. And then I'm going to Canadia that Seifert as well, just to chain the Olenoids in my grave for some free link materials. And by link, I of course mean Xyz. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to go into another Toad. Yeah, no thought, just Toad. So we're going to send in our 2 Toads in the battle phase. This is a total of 700 damage, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to draw. He got Thrasher. I chain my Lancia in hand skillfully, and with the only card being the Black Dragon in his hand, he's going to scoop it up. Bit of a shame, but that's the game. So game 3, he opens his Thrasher again, and he's going to follow it up with an emergency teleport, gets himself the recover. In a different world, if that was like a Mizuki or something, that could have been the craziest Nat Beast ever. But it's not, so instead we got the Hulk plays, and I have nothing to stop it, so he gets a free Jet Synchron, links off into a Link Karibo, and then normal's a Mothman. I point at it, saying that's a man, and he just passes. And I debilitate for a minute. I just drop a Thunderbolt. I just open with the Regeki that I've sided in, because why not? Why not get rid of 3? My suspicion is that his game plan was to use the... Oh, hold on a sec. Great audio here.
Hits me with spaghetti, just a T-set. Just a T-set.
Just gotta let that authentic audio go in there. I suspected he wanted to use the tag out effect of Hulk to go into Wonder Magician to hit something, and as you can see, I've only got one worth setting, so he goes and follows up with a T-set of his own. Very simplified game state. Praise be to the Thunderbolt. I take this with Change of Heart, because I've still got it, put it back in for game 3, and I make the dumbest play I can make. So I flip my Toad and I summon my Ronintoadin. And I've got these 3 on board. I figure I'm swinging in. I swing in with this board state for 300 damage. And I'm about to let the audio play of my exact realization of how much more I could have done with this. I just gone for Unicorn and spun it. He either yums it up, or then I could have banished Dupe for Ronin, made access, and swung for 53. And then it's like
3.
Yeah, but instead I chose 3. I chose 5k less. So, probably a better play. My reason for not doing that, I wanted to make the Toad. So I'm just going to make the Toad, give him back the DD Crow. Not the best case scenario, but it is what it is. My rationale being that in the standby phase, I'm just going to go for the swap. I'm going to be a little greedy. I'm going to get a Ronin in there. I want to get my engine rolling, and the Lancia on top of that's going to be pretty brutal against him. He does have the Dark Ruler no more, but I figure if I can get my engine going and just out-resource him and just swing in before he can truly make any meaningful plays, I'll be good. So he summons souls. I'm going to chain Trap Trick, getting a Canadia. And then he's going to use the Link Karibo effect in the graveyard, tributing off that DD Crow to get a Link Karibo on board. And he normal summons the top decked DD Crow he got for turn. And here, I suspect the only thing impactful he'll have is a Unicorn. So I'm just going to Canadia the souls, and he's going to scoop it up, because I've got another Lancia coming. I've got Judgment, I've got dupes on the way. Pretty well clear that I'm in the strong position, especially with the Toad effect that's going to go off and get another swap. I've got at least another rank 2 on board and 2 Toad negates on top of summoning dupes. Quickly gonna get out of hand. So he scoops it up. Definitely MVP of this duel was Lancia, and also on both sides of the board, Hulk and Ronin. So these decks are hella dead, which is a shame to say, but quick fun duels. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you stink. I don't have anything else to say here. Again, these things are bans. They're not going to be coming up in the future, so both my opponent there and myself will be dueling with completely different decks if I film more stuff in the future. So let me know what you think, and hopefully you enjoyed the duels, and I'll see you next time on YGO Strats.